Good evening, everybody. Alex StarCraft here, bringing you another commentary on the wonderful game that we call StarCraft 2. Now, this game is going to be between SlayersMMA, the red Terran in the top right corner, and Complexity's MVPDRG, quite a mouthful, the blue Zerg in the top left corner. The map is going to be Shakarus Plateau, and I'm extremely excited to do this cast. Now, the main reason for this is because I actually had a friend asking me earlier today. Of course, I just started this casting thing. I had a friend asking me about the game, about the cast he saw, because he does not play, but he is quite interested in the game. And so this game is actually going to be one reflecting exactly the kinds of things we talk about. Now, you'll notice these are two Koreans that are going to be playing. Both of these players are very good. This is from the one of the last few rounds of the winner's bracket of the MLG 2011 championship. As I'm sure you guys have noticed, most of my games have been coming from that, and that's because I don't really have any idea where to look for a lot of other ones. I know there are sites like SC2Rep and stuff like that, but these past few days I've just been swamped with work. And so I've actually not really had time to look, even if I did want to. And apparently Dongragu is scouting for any kind of proxy, which is a little bit strange. He's going to end it up here, which will be good to help with the bunker pressure. I guess I should open the production tab. And we also see this drone also scouting all down here, all around here. Make sure there's no bunkers, no barracks, no planetary or no command centers being built back here. I have seen that before from a Korean. But SlayersMMA is just going for a pretty standard play. It looks like he's probably going to be getting his gas in just a second, transitioning to some Hellions perhaps, or just standard play. Not even a 2-rack, which is actually rather surprising. MMA is really well known for his extremely aggressive play style. And so I'm surprised that he's not going to be going for that 2-racks, but you see he's just throwing down his orbital. He's still actually not getting a gas, so based off how much money he has, he's probably going to be throwing down an orbital command, or a command center, I should say, in just a moment. It looks like he's actually going to be throwing it down on the low ground. Now, that is pretty risky. Of course, Dongragu does not see it. He does not know that it is coming. However, he will probably scout it pretty soon. And the risk with that is that if he were deciding to make a bunch of Zerglings instead of drones, MMA wouldn't really have anything to defend it. You see, he has one Marine. He doesn't even have another one on the way. He doesn't have the money at the moment. He is throwing down his double gas, though, so that's rather interesting. Whereas Dongragu has not seen many of this, or much of this. His expansion is now done. He's going to be probably transferring a few drones down here in just a second, or possibly not. But he does have the 2 transfer drones down there, keeping a watch on this SCV, make sure there's no bunker or barracks shenanigans going down. But so far, everything's very standard. Dongragu throwing down his gas, getting his 2 queens, and MMA's command center is just about to finish. Now, I'm assuming we probably will see an SCV transfer from him, as well as some mules probably being thrown down there. Yes, he's going to have just enough energy about as soon as he has it. And the Zerglings taking the map control. Of course, every Zerg player needs to make sure he has map control. I'm sure one of these Zerglings will be going down to the other Zonaga tower. That would be my guess. We'll see that any second now. The SCV is actually scouting to see if there's a third base from Dongragu, and it looks like he assumes there is not. I'm not sure what led him to believe that, but I don't think it's going to get in the base. No, it's not, especially with these Zerglings being faster on the creep. So Dongragu is just droning up. MMA is just kind of SCVing up, and as I predicted, he is going to be transitioning into Hellions. What a surprise from a Terran player against a Zerg player. Now, hopefully Dongragu will be able to hold this. You see, he is making 9 drones right now, so he's droning pretty hard. Hopefully he has some units out in time to defend it. He does have his Zergling speed on the way. And the Hellions can be held off by the Zerglings, especially with a combination of Spine Crawlers and Queens. You do see he's throwing down a Roach Warren, actually, which is another really good way to hold off Hellions. Now, I would assume he's probably just guessing that there are going to be Hellions coming. I do not think he scouted any of it. Let's take a look really quickly, and no, he has not scouted really anything. He doesn't even know that expansion is up. He's probably just assuming there are going to be Hellions coming, and if he does, he is completely right. And we actually have the Baneling that's going down as well. So I think Dongregoo doesn't actually really need to know what's going on. He can just kind of go this build almost no matter what, because it lets him get roaches, which would be really good against Hellions, banelings, which would be really good against Marines, and so he's kind of covered from all angles. And you see he's getting his gas, he's got his workers. Actually, he's already up to 37. That's pretty good, making a few Zerglings now, and he's actually going to make some roaches at the same time. So this combination of units is going to hold off more or less anything that could be thrown at him. Now he is going to have 4 Hellions coming at him, but he'll have 9 roaches by the time they get there. So this won't actually do very much at all. You see the Zergling's actually getting a bit of a surround on those Hellions. The Hellions having to pull away to survive, but he does not lose any Zerglings. And now that the Zergling speed is done, it can actually outrun them. Looks like they're going to be running up here, and they might scout everything that's going on. They try and run over here. I'm not quite sure why, maybe trying to hide a little bit, but he actually is going to lose quite a few as a result. But he's actually moving out with a lot of roaches and a lot of Zerglings. Now this could maybe do a lot of damage. All he has is these 3 Marines in here. He's actually following up with more Zerglings. You see MMA is immediately following this with more and more bunkers. He's raising up his supply depots to make sure that the Zerglings can't from flooding in. But he's actually making a lot of banelings, and this wall is not very baneling proof at all. Now this could do a lot of damage to MMA. It's going to be interesting to see whether MMA can hold it, but I think he's definitely going to take some damage because he has a lot, but this is a lot of units right here, and you see the bunker is going to go down, the baneling streaming in. They're going to land on the Hellions. Ooh, they kill all of the Hellions. They're going to be landing on some workers as well. He's killing all of the bunkers. It looks like this one might be repaired. No, I guess not. But he's actually going to be killing a lot of workers as well. This is doing so much damage versus MMA. This is really bad. Zerglings flooding in. They're going to block these SCVs from getting up the ramp. He just essentially completely lost this natural. Now that is the risky run. When you go for something like a very exposed 1 racks expand like that, you might lose, as we just saw, you might lose 20 workers and really not be prepared at all. And now he still cannot hold it off. He's still flying into the base. He does have Marauders, does have Marines, and it looks like he is going to be able to hold this off, but he took a lot of damage there. You'll see that Dongregoo is about 20 supply ahead. He's many more workers, I'm sure. He has, ooh, mouse going a little crazy there, 41 over 28. Now that is a good worker advantage for this point of the game. You see he's actually just making more units. He's actually going to be pulling them back, I believe. No, he's actually going to be pushing them forward, making sure that nothing comes out of here. He might even be trying to do a little more aggression because he knows this wall is not up yet. So if MMA tries to land this, tries to get him mining, he's going to have to pay dearly for it. So the Zergling's trying to run up, the supply depot is down, but he's actually going to be attacking this natural base right now, killing MMA's SCV right there. But we actually have a drop coming down from MMA. This is the thing that MMA is the most known for, his crazy drop play. And if he can do some damage with this, which it doesn't look like he'll be able to, there's some Zerglings and banelings lying in wait. But if he can do some damage with that, oh wow, beautiful stutter step out of MMA. Of course, I shouldn't expect anything less. He's actually, the queens are trapped off of creep. He is picking them up and running, but that was perfect timing just because it's right when all the Zerglings reappeared. And the Marines definitely could not hold off against that, no matter how wonderful stutter step MMA has. Now we do have Dongregoo. He has his lair down. The Spire's about 70% of the way done. And this is something I've actually noticed from watching Dongregoo. He does a very interesting playstyle where he actually, you see, he has these 54 drones, 53 drones, and then what he does, he kind of stops making them for a while and makes a lot of Mutalisks. Or at least that's what I'd noticed before. But it'll be interesting to see. He doesn't grab a 3rd base. It'll be interesting to see. It's clearly I'm wrong because he's grabbing a 3rd base right now. But you see, he will have enough to forward 8 Mutalisks as soon as he has time. Now he has 6 on the way. I'd assume that's because of a lack of larva. But he also has the +1 attack on the way. A very important thing to do. And MMA is going to be moving out with these few Marines and this dropship to mostly scout the 3rd, do a little damage to it if he can, because these 5 Marines with stim can do a good amount of damage. But the Zerglings will get there very quickly. Excuse me, Zerglings are very fast, of course. And here they come, and it doesn't look like the Marines are going to be able to get this. They'll try their best, but MMA should lift them up, but he's actually just going to let all of them die. But anyway, we do have actually the single Viking flying around, sniping overlords, making sure nothing suspicious is going on. with overlord drops or positioning or anything weird like that. And here we have the Mulisks moving out across the map. Now these Mulisks are probably going to be able to do a good amount of damage. Now MMA probably does know it's coming. He does have missile turrets already completed in his mineral lines, as well as a few more on the way. But these Mulisks are actually going to be able to kind of camp particularly the factory. We do have some Marines coming down. He's actually going to have to run those away. There's way too many Marines for him to fight. But he's actually not that well defended. He has almost nothing in his natural. And only has one turret here and one up here. This doesn't defend this whole area. Doesn't defend the engineering base. Doesn't defend the production. Doesn't defend the natural. The Marines do. Of course, every stem is going to make it harder and harder on these medevacs. Now, Dongregu does have his third base up and running, but you'll see, as I said, he's still not making drones. Which is a very interesting playstyle, considering he has those, 700 minerals. Of course, he did just decide to. Making 14 drones and 12 Zerglings at the same time, along with grabbing +1 attack, +1 carapace, more overlords, another extractor, and 3 creep tumors. You can also see Dongregu's creep spread is very good. At the same time, MMA's third command center is coming down. That's actually that's a fairly standard third base timing. Now these Mulisks are again trying to do a little bit of harass. He has not killed any workers with them, I do not believe. Let's check. Maybe a few, unless I missed something earlier. But he's not really done a whole lot of worker damage with this. But a big part of it is a psychological thing, where MMA knows there are Mulisks on the map. He knows if he tries to move out at all, these Mulisks will run into his worker line and kill 5, 10, 15 workers before he can get close enough to try and push them back again. Now, we have still some very standard play. We actually have some patrolling Banelings and Zerglings just running around up here, watching out for any drops. He does not have a very good Overlord spread over here. He would not be aware if there's a drop coming from this direction. But it looks like, I was going to say he's going to intercept this drop, but actually looks like this Overlord is just going to be very sadly killed by the Viking. Now we do have the Mulisks going back into the mineral line. Now we're going to try and do some damage. He is actually bringing a lot of supply depots. He's no more turret back here. And he might be able to do a lot of damage. These Mulisks might almost be able to just attack the Marines, but the supply depots are actually making it harder for the Marines to get back. So we see Dongregu grabbing a fourth base. He's a good 50 supply ahead. He has the 75 workers, just about the amount you want. We have a Thor on the way from MMA. Now, of course, this is a great way to counteract Mulisks. They're just as good as a Marine, but say you just put one in each mineral line with the range of 9. If he's not very careful and the Mulisks clump up, the Thor can do a huge amount of damage. Now we also have the Infestation Pit coming down from Dongregu, which are very good late in the game. You only really, the thing with Infestors and Mulisks as a Zerg, you only want so many Infestors or so many Mulisks, just because, sure, the Mulisks are great, but once you get to a certain point and they're going Thor Marine, they're not wonderful. The Infestors are great, but then as soon as they start getting meching units or you want to harass, they're not quite as good. Now, actually, it looks like he's going to be running in with all of his units here. The Banelings are going to get probably some huge hits on the Marines. Big hits on the Marauders, but MMA's Marine Micro is too good. But it looks like Dongregu is just going to totally overwhelm MMA at this point. He just had way too many units. But actually, the Banelings not managing to connect there. And the Mulisks are not going to be able to kill this Marine Thor force, especially with this Master Pair on the orbital command right here. Now, we do have the third command center about trying to go down here, but it actually looks like it's probably going to get sniped before anything can be done. Whoa, mouse going insane. But it looks like he is, well, he'll catch it on fire at least, which that will eventually burn down. Now, it seems that MMA does see all of these morphing. He should cancel these. He's losing so much money. Okay, he did cancel a few at the very end there. But at the same time, the Mulisks going in, harassing the Marines, harassing the mineral line. Because at this point, he has enough Mulisks. He can just straight up attack the Marines. He's more Mulisks than there are Marines. And that is never a good situation for the Terran. Now we just have more Zerglings running in. These Thors are trying to kill them, but they can't actually do very well against the Zerglings. And MMA calls it GG, because at this point, he's no economy, no units. Dongregu is his fourth base, and is about to be on Hive Tech. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary. I hope it maybe showed you a little bit about why mutas can be so effective in ZVT, and why they require so much multitasking to be able to do something that the Koreans are best at, so that's why you'll generally see them doing it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a wonderful day.